Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Unless anything major happens, I think this will probably be the last video of the day. And so it's nice to go out on a smile. Now, at the time of recording, it is just gone 1 o'clock. This is dated midday, so it's just about an hour old. And it's news of a poll. And it's the first poll on voting intentions in Scotland that puts the SNP into second place. Their destruction is complete. They're now not only not got a majority, not got the most seats, but they're now into second place. This is a disaster, and the man for whom it's a disaster is currently out of the country on a Beano, wafting himself in the sun, drinking whatever he can drink out there. I don't know what the rules are. I know Dubai's not wet, but him being a good Muslim and all, probably won't be drinking too much there. But of course, all the other guys, the hangers-on and whatever, will all be quaffing down the fully expensed drinks and food, all at the public expense in their 5-star luxury hotel. Meanwhile, he's watching as the SNP collapses and burns, shot down in flames by his own ineptitude, by his own inability, I suppose, to lead. So we'll take a look at this and we will just laugh. Here goes. So Humza Yousaf, disaster, as poll shunts SNP into second place for the first time. Isn't that a marvellous thing to read, especially as the last video of the day? So do please hit the subscribe button if you're not yet subscribed. Strengthen this channel. We'll keep the good news coming. The support for the First Minister's party has plummeted since he took over from Nicola Sturgeon, and now Scottish Labour are ahead in new polling. That's because he is useless by name, useless by nature. People are waking up, they're smelling the coffee, and they're seeing what he is doing and his party are doing to the country, and they just don't like it. Humza Yousaf has faced new polling hell just hours after being given a glimmer of hope in another survey. Redfield and Winton put Scottish Labour ahead of the SNP for the first time ahead of Westminster's next general election. And it came after Ipsos Murray claimed that the Nationalists had a 10-point lead over their nearest rivals, which got the party boasting about the uptake in voters. However, that seems like an outlier, as every other bit of research and polling company have it neck and neck. And indeed, Ipsos Murray are very, very skewed towards the Nats, always have been. So you can always take their results knowing that there's a skewing towards the Nats and make appropriate correction. Anyway, Redfield and Winter's polling had Mr Yousaf's party dropping behind Labour in the race for seats at Westminster. It suggested that Anna Sarwar's party would win more votes north of the border than the SNP. That's the first time this has happened in their monthly survey of Scottish politics. It was also a nasty surprise to Skexit voters, as it found that Scots want to stay in the UK as no lead yes by 2 points at 48 to 46. Ipsos had the opposite, with the yes side on 54% of the vote, further strengthening the case that Ipsos are more biased towards the Nats and towards leaving, independence and all. Redfield and Winton's research claimed that Scottish Labour would take a 36% share of the popular vote, which puts them 2 points ahead of the SNP. In terms of seats, it would mean that the Nationalists lose more than 30 MPs, according to Election Maps UK. Mr Yousaf also faced his own personal ratings hell, as his overall approval rating was minus 14%, with 40% of voters disapproving of his job performance, and a significant chunk of Scots voters, 43%, say that his coalition with the Scottish Greens is incompetent, a rise of 3 points. Well, everyone knows this. The Greens are incompetent. Now, I'll just pull that up so you can see. I'm not going to go through it, but if I leave it on the screen, you can. There you go. If I leave it on the screen there, you can pause that if you want to have a look. And again, with that, you can pause and zoom in there if you want to have a look at that. Moving on. Only 25% actually think the SNP executive are competent. I'm surprised it's that high, but when you consider how many SNP voters there are, to only have 25% means there's an awful lot of SNP voters that don't think they're competent. That must be pretty rough for them. This is down 8 points from last month, and they hold negative approval ratings on various issues such as crime and policing. The Scottish Government are becoming embroiled in a number of new scandals in the last month, which may have contributed to the plummeting rating. You can guarantee Matheson has had a huge effect. This includes, there you go, very next line. This includes Michael Matheson's £11,000 data roaming bill and the COVID WhatsApps not being sent to the inquiry. And now, of course, we've got the how shall we say, the lustful chicanery of the two lovers lost in the darkness of Holyrood's inner depths and each other's inner depths. And nobody is saying who they are for sure, although we think we know who one of them is. But that's a different matter. Mr Yousaf has refused to sack his ailing health secretary despite numerous calls for him to go, including 61% of the Scottish public demanding his head. And his predecessor, Nicola Sturgeon, was accused of deleting her COVID correspondence before they could be handed over to be probed. Scottish Labour Deputy Leader Jackie Baillie welcomed the results of the polling. No surprise there, is there, Jackie, eh? Big smile, is it, love? She was saying it was clearly encouraging. She added, it shows how the people of Scotland have had enough of two governments, the SNP for the last 16 years and the Tories for the last 13. Got to get that dig in. That's fine, you get the dig in. Let you have that one. You get one per album, love. You can have that one. She says they want to change it, and it's good to see they're increasingly placing their trust in Scottish Labour. Well, I think it's not just Scottish Labour, it's Labour across the whole country, Scottish and English. It's just that way. It's the way it's going. SNP Deputy Leader and idiot Keith Brown said the SNP will continue to work as hard as we can every day. Working as hard as you can doesn't mean you're doing any good, though, does it? Not the same thing. One does not follow the other. He's saying to improve the lives of the people of this country, lives blighted by 17 years of SNP rule, I hasten to add. He says, by contrast, it has never been clearer that Westminster just doesn't work for Scotland. Nothing works for Scotland, not while you got those tossers up there doing their best to destroy everything, regardless of who is in Westminster. Anyway, we'll round that off. We'll come up, but it's nice to end. It's nice to end the day on a good note, where you're seeing the SNP knocked back now into second place. This is it's getting worse. It's just getting worse for them all the time. And you know, you've got to say, as it goes on, it's only going to get worse and worse, because every day more stuff comes out. More arrogance, more conceit, more ineptitude, more stupidity. And more people are waking up to it. They are finished. And I'm smiling. So I shall take my smile. We'll come up. We'll finish the video. I'll go off and do about a million other things, because I've got so much to do this afternoon. Anyway, let's go up. Right, I don't think there's anything really I can add to that. So there's no real round off there. But I will ask, if you're not yet subscribed, please do. Please strengthen this channel. We are political. The algorithm puts down political channels, doesn't like us. So if you subscribe, it just gives us a slightly louder voice. We get the truth out there, and we keep these people, you know, honest. Well, as honest as we can anyway. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, enjoy your evening, and I will speak to you tomorrow. Goodbye.